A single aircraft carrier can substantially enhance a nation's military capabilities. These vessels represent the most formidable assets in any navy. Under international law, carriers may typically operate within 14 nautical miles, 22 kilometers of the coastline. The strategic value of deploying air power so close to shore is immense, particularly given that 80% of the world's population resides within 60 nautical miles, 100 kilometers of the ocean. While most warships can carry helicopters, only 19 active aircraft carriers can operate fixed-wing aircraft. China, Thailand, India, Russia, and France each possess one. Italy has two, and the United States operates the largest fleet, 11 carriers. These colossal vessels require crews exceeding 6,000 personnel and can remain deployed for up to 60 days. Though capable of helicopter operations, only 19 active carriers can operate fixed-wing combat aircraft. China, Thailand, India, Russia, and France each possess one. Italy has two, while the United States maintains the world's largest fleet with 11 carriers. These colossal vessels require over 6,000 crew members and can remain deployed for up to a year, functioning as veritable cities at sea. Advanced carriers like France's Charles de Gaulle can launch one fighter every 30 seconds at full operational capacity, surpassing the busyness of Paris's Charles de Gaulle Airport, an extraordinary feat achieved while the vessel is underway. While offering significant advantages, carriers face formidable challenges. Their primary weaponry consists of the aircraft they carry, with limited self-defense armaments such as surface-to-air missiles and machine guns. Yet, as large targets, carriers never operate alone. A typical U.S. carrier strike group comprises a guided missile cruiser armed with Tomahawk missiles, 2 guided missile destroyers, attack submarines, and a replenishment ship. The flagship carrier houses a separate bridge, air traffic control center, and admiral's command post. Every vessel in the group, except the replenishment ship, serves dual offensive and defensive roles. Most carriers require periodic resupply. All U.S. and French carriers employ nuclear propulsion, enabling continuous operation for 25 years without refueling. Even conventional carriers like Britain's HMS Queen Elizabeth can sail uninterrupted for 12,000 miles, 18,000 kilometers. Though U.S. and French carriers theoretically sustain operations for years, limited provisions and aviation fuel reserves restrict actual deployment to weeks. Relying on port calls for replenishment every few weeks would be both inefficient and hazardous. Consequently, a sea-based replenishment model is employed. Supply ships sail to nearby ports to replenish fuel, ammunition, provisions, and mail, then sail parallel to the carrier strike group. Fuel is transferred via mooring lines, while solid supplies are transported through cable systems or helicopters, the latter being faster but riskier. Replenishment covers critical supplies like food, as well as non-urgent items such as mail. Postal items follow a dedicated channel. Each carrier possesses a unique postal address, akin to a building on the U.S. mainland. Take the USS Gerald R. Ford as an example. Its address is as follows: carrier address. Family members may send letters to this address, with delivery times matching those on the U.S. mainland. Even during extended deployments, sailors can order parcels online. Express deliveries from the U.S. to the carrier typically take around 10 days. Such efficient transport necessitates more frequent supply runs than standard ship replenishment. Fortunately, the carrier itself functions as a floating airfield. The U.S. Navy employs C-2 Greyhound transport aircraft for daily logistics between carriers and land bases. Consider the USS Ronald Reagan in the South China Sea in November 2018. Mail might first arrive in Singapore, where a C-2 would then fly to collect it before returning to the carrier. Moving with the carrier. Collection points are relocated to neighboring friendly nations. While mail boosts morale, for the C-2 this represents a low-priority task. Its primary duties involve transporting aircraft spare parts and ferrying personnel such as senior officers and journalists. The C-2 Greyhound's volume is roughly equivalent to that of an Embraer E-145 passenger aircraft, which carries 50 passengers, making it a substantial aircraft. The world's longest aircraft carrier is the newly commissioned USS Gerald R. Ford, measuring 1,106 feet, 337 meters in length. Among civilian airports, runways like those at London City Airport at just 5,000 feet, 1,500 meters, are considered short, while major airports such as London Heathrow boast runways exceeding 10,000 feet, 3,000 meters. So, how do carrier-based aircraft like the C-2 take off from runways as short as 1,100 feet, 330 meters? They don't use runways at all, requiring merely 325 feet, 99 meters, for takeoff. U.S. and French carriers employ catapults to accelerate aircraft to takeoff speed within 3-4 seconds, enabling large fighters to launch from confined decks. By contrast, Chinese and Indian carriers lack catapult systems, permitting only lighter, shorter-range aircraft capable of launching from extremely short decks. Both types utilize arresting wires for landing braking. Other carriers rely solely on vertical takeoff and landing (VTOL) aircraft. Operations on the flight deck resemble a chaotic yet meticulously orchestrated symphony. On U.S. carriers, personnel roles are distinguished by shirt color yellow shirts guide aircraft, blue shirts assist with towing vehicles, operating lifts and passing ammunition, red shirts manage ordnance, purple shirts oversee refueling, and green shirts specialize in catapult maintenance and cargo handling. White-shirted personnel represent the landing party and medical staff, while brown-shirted personnel are the captains overseeing pre-flight inspections. The flight deck is inherently hazardous due to its cramped dimensions. Its area is insufficient to accommodate all aircraft, necessitating the use of the lower hangar as storage space. A large carrier can carry up to 100 aircraft, which are transported between the deck and hangar via elevators when not in use. Approximately 6,000 personnel work and live aboard the carrier. On American carriers, around 3,200 individuals are responsible for cleaning and directing operations from the engine room to the flight deck. As all deck space is dedicated to aviation, many crew members go weeks without seeing sunlight. A further 2,500 personnel belong to the air wing, comparable in scale to a complete land-based airbase, including air traffic controllers, mechanics, refuelers, and pilots. The remaining personnel undertake logistical support functions. Most sailors reside in single berths, sometimes sharing quarters with hundreds of others. Those of higher rank enjoy superior cabins. Though these vessels accommodating thousands feature shops, gyms, bars, barbershops, and lounges, 6,000 individuals crammed onto a single ship create an extremely cramped environment. Mission requirements always take precedence. Since the Second World War, some have questioned the role of aircraft carriers in modern warfare. Unlike the United States, other nations categorize carriers into 3 states: deployed, training, or on standby. American carriers, however, fulfill a 4th function, the immediate projection of power. There is almost always a U.S. carrier patrolling some ocean theater. The 17th of January 2017 marked the first time since the Second World War that no U.S. carrier was deployed. Even when not deployed, carriers retain high-speed maneuverability, reaching speeds of up to 35 miles per hour, approximately 56 kilometers per hour. Consequently, a carrier departing from Norfolk, Virginia can reach the Middle East within a week. In the Pacific region, the United States holds a distinct advantage. The carrier USS Ronald Reagan, stationed in Japan, can reach North Korea within 29 hours. U.S. carriers patrol globally, with the USS Ronald Reagan stationed in Japan capable of reaching North Korea within 29 hours. Traveling at 56 kilometers per hour, carriers departing from Norfolk, Virginia can reach the Middle East within a week. In the Pacific region, the U.S. holds an advantage through the Japan-based USS Ronald Reagan, which can reach North Korea in 29 hours. U.S. carriers demonstrate power through global cruises. Between August and December 2018, The USS Ronald Reagan patrolled the South China Sea without combat incidents, yet conveyed a message of concern to China. U.S. carriers also frequently visit the Korean Peninsula for deterrence purposes. In November 2017, 3 carriers simultaneously appeared in the region. Yet carriers remain massive targets, especially in the era of stealth drones and precision-guided missiles. The loss of a single carrier could inflict casualties exceeding those of the Iraq War and result in hundreds of billions of dollars in asset damage. Though no carrier has been sunk since World War II, the risks far exceed most people's understanding. U.S. carriers routinely conduct joint exercises with allies. In 2005 and 2015, Swedish and French submarines successfully simulated defeating U.S. carriers during drills, demonstrating that submarines can approach within striking distance in actual combat. This indicates carriers remain vulnerable despite defensive systems. Concurrently, the U.S. is constructing 10 new carriers, while China, India, and the UK are building their own. Thus, despite obsolescence concerns, carriers will persist on the seas for the foreseeable future. Logic puzzle. Imagine 2 doors. The first bears a sign reading, "If this door is safe, the other must be deadly." If the sign is false, how would you determine the state of both doors? Which is deadly, which is safe? After pondering for a moment, if you arrive at an answer, please share it in the comments section. This puzzle originates from Brilliant.org's logic tests, a website dedicated to cultivating analytical skills. Brilliant offers courses spanning group theory, multivariable calculus, statistics, number theory, and machine learning. They break down complex subjects into foundational knowledge, helping you grasp core principles. Visit brilliant.org/Wendover to learn for free. The first 200 users registering via this link receive 20% off annual premium membership.